So what's next?
That's a good question, Teegs. I've certainly been thinking long and hard about that, and I do have some grand ideas for the future. I think my next big adventure, realistically, is probably about 3 years away, just for the prep. But I've got the template in place now, so that will make life a little bit easier. Let's just say it involves a lot of continents, a lot of rivers, and if I do pursue it and I do succeed at it, it will be a world first. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow.
Don't tell anyone. Just keep it under your hat, mate.
Because you know what happens? If you tell me, I'll just tell one person who'll tell someone who'll tell someone.
It's okay. We're on a 5-year contract, so we'll still be here.
We'll still be here, so it'll be all good.
Now, I've got to ask you this question. I'm sorry, Teegs, I jumped in on you. You go first.
No, it's okay.
No, you go.
No, I don't want to go anymore.
No, it's an edit.
No, it's
I'll
fine.
just edit it out. Pick it up.
No, you keep on your train of thought. I'll do mine in a minute.
Nathan, do you and the boys still get on? You had to live in each other's pockets for quite some time. You actually lost PJ along the way, didn't you?
We did, excuse me. We lost Phil probably about 4,500 kilometres from the end at a little place called, well, not a little place, but a city called Iquitos, which is a jungle city in Peru. We thought he had malaria. He had all the signs and symptoms of it. But when we actually got him to some medical facilities, all the tests came back as negative. They couldn't pinpoint anything. He continued to get worse and worse. You know, we had to put him on a drip. He lost about, to give you an idea, he lost about 18 kilos.
Jeez.
Wow, so he was ill.
He was very, very ill. And we had already had established a medical expert in Lima in Peru. So we actually flew him to Lima first to get his opinion and do some more testing. No results came back with any definite diagnosis, so we actually flew him back to South Africa. But in answer to your initial question, Meech, being in each other's pockets certainly has its challenges. You know, you kind of get to know someone pretty well. And I think it'd be fair to say that after everything we kind of endured together, there's a bond there. There's a bond, and there's an appreciation and a special respect for the person next to you. I think from my end, particularly for Mark, because he made it to the end with me. And when Phil left, I found Mark just stepped up. You know, he kind of stepped up to the plate. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say Mark, the gentleman at the end of the trip, very different chap to the person I kind of knew at the start. And that was a real honour to be a part of that process.
So Phil's okay now?
Yeah, I was speaking to Phil probably about 3 weeks ago, and he's just now got a new job in the Congo. He's a paramedic, so he's got a new job in the Congo, a bit more action for him there, but he's almost 100%, he said, so that's great news.
So do you know what it is? Or
no.
Still no diagnosis?
Even the tests when he was back in dry land in South Africa couldn't
Wasn't
pinpoint
that little
anything.
fishy? Didn't it get him? That little fishy?
No, I don't think he admitted anyway. You have to be sliced and diced to get that little fishy out.
But let me ask you this. I mean, one thing I have noticed and there are a number of people you do bump into just locally who've realised their dreams. It might have been a mining company that they wanted to get to, or they always wanted to have this company or do this or do that. These people that achieve these goals, they just seem to pick up hundredfolds in the confidence department. I can actually feel your confidence just sitting in here now. I mean, what else do you feel that you got out of this whole time, that achieving this goal of yours, paddling the entire length of the Amazon?
I think for me it was about, when you think you can achieve something and you got an idea, I reckon I can do that. But you really have to go through a process of proving it to yourself, so then you can get that self-trust and that self-confidence. And I think more than anything else that I've done in my life so far, this kind of helped manifest that process a little bit quicker for me, in that I knew I could do this, but I just had to go out and prove to myself that I could, and that just improves. When you say you're going to do something, and then when things get tough, you're prepared to keep going forward and you reach your goal, that's what self-confidence and trust is about.
What about your family? They must be so overwhelmed, but also so overwhelmingly proud of what you've done.
Yeah, family have been great, and not only family, I think also supporters, even Meech, while we were on the trip, and posts on the website. It is amazing how important that kind of input and support is when you're in the tough times, and you kind of log on to your your SAT website and you have a look on there, and you've got these posts that kind of inspire you. Well, come on, boys, we can keep going. And family and friends and supporters were vitally important throughout that whole time.
Yeah, it must have been tough when you were puffing dust, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you when you guys were talking about, we're on the flat bit, we can see the end, but we're paddling against the river. It's 7 kilometres wide and we're knackered, you know. Mate, I've got to ask you the question. 6,000 pictures, an incredible website. You've done the whole 9 yards. Any chance of a doco? Have you had any bites? Is there any chance that you can...
Do it again and we can film it this
you
time?
know, something, do over.
Do you mind?
I'll just get the gear together, Teegs, and we'll whip up there in a minute, eh?
Sorry, I had the lens cap on. Any
Damn,
chance
I
that
forgot to bring spare batteries.
you can make something commercially out of it?
Yeah, myself and Mark are actually discussing that at the moment. And yeah, we do have quite a bit of footage. We have, as I said, quite a few photos. So certainly there's a possibility we'll put a documentary together, perhaps a book sometimes in the future. But certainly those things are on our agenda, but when they kind of come into fruition, I can't really answer that. But
Sure.
Meech, I just want you to know, if we do the doco, I'm going to invite you to do the voice.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there, mate. I'll be there with bells on.
Was there something that you really craved while you were... were you thinking of
Good question.
McDonald's or Mum's Home Roast, or was there anything like then you're like, I just want to have blah?
Yeah, there was. I think especially in the hike section, surprisingly enough, what we all craved. And I'm not a big sweet eater, but chocolate.
Really?
Yeah, chocolate. And then kind of as we progress further and further, your homey little things like a bed and a hot shower. They're things I craved. And I tell you, the one that I had when we'd finished, I'd never had a better hot shower. And it wasn't the most comfortable bed in the world, but I tell you, it was superb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.